Yeah, everyone's getting ready. I'm sure the other players are like, "What are you? We're not gonna let you look at how we play. We're not gonna let you study the replay." And so it's like, "Well, I already got knocked out. Like it's fine. I'm not waiting in the finals." Like, oh, that's not the point.
What if you tell Solar how we play?
Oh, maybe that was it.
It might have been.
Take that PvP knowledge and utilize it in the finals. He could off-race his Protoss.
Interesting. And speaking of off-racing, neither of these players are doing it right now. They are playing their main race. But one can dream. One can even ever dream. Ideally Edla is the map that we're in right now, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner map, all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We have the pink Protoss player, the Duke of Alliteration, representing Raise Your Edge Gaming, RYEG. He is Zest.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Death Aura. Oh my god, what is Everdream LE? We have the Korean Protoss player representing Afrika Freaks. It is Stats.
Oh, wrong button. Alright, I feel like this particular matchup is one that we haven't seen in quite some time. Zest, you know, he's on... I feel like he is one of the front runners right now to really claim the title of best Protoss player, at least in Korea, but at the same time, he's kind of lost a little bit of that, you know, dominance in PvP itself.
Yeah,
and then he has Stats, who is also kind of like that.
I was gonna say, kind of, like when it comes to these ESL Open Cups Asia, if it's your first time tuning in, it's pretty dominated by these top tier Protoss players. We do see a lot of Stats, Trap, Zest, like, they do pop up here often, and now in recent times SOS, so they do kind of, because of that, we do see a lot of PvPs in this tournament, and they get a lot of practice, and I think, you know, Zest's form in this matchup is kind of shown by the fact that he is one of the highest, like, winners in this tournament. I think he's tied.
He's tied with Solar right now, yeah.
Yeah.
5 or 6, something like that.
So it does go to show how good, not just Zest, but Solar as well, are good against Protoss. Because there are just so many top tier Protosses in this tournament. For whatever reason, we don't really get too many Terrans or Zergs. They've
realized that Protoss is going to win a premier tournament in a while, so may as well try.
Yeah. Like, again, when it comes to Zerg players, it's Solar and occasionally Su, like once or twice. Like, there's no Dark, there's no Rogue, none of that. Like, for Terrans, Innovation and Mario don't play in this. TY occasionally, like...
Literally once.
Yeah, once, literally. So again, it's mainly Protosses. So, you know, because of that, their matchups have kind of been refined here. And yeah, we see that here as Zest does have that proxy robo.
Yeah, I can't really think of any of the top tier Protoss players that don't play in these. I mean, Parting, I guess, but to be fair, Parting also wakes up to play in NA. So
yeah, that he does.
All right. I'm a little bit surprised here, Light. We started proxy robo. Where's the Stargate?
Yeah, there's no proxy Stargate. There's nothing really to stop him from pushing up and maybe taking out this pylon, but there is a full wall off here by Stats, and Stats, he does have a sentry as well for that force field.
That sentry doesn't have energy though, Light, and Zest hasn't realized this yet. He had a sentry sent out a Haluk.
Yeah, he sent out hallucinations, doesn't have energy for a force field, so Stats is a little bit vulnerable right now.
But Zest hasn't realized it yet. He decides to play it a little bit more safe, gonna get the Warpism in, and just try to get a couple of sentries of his own. Potentially have a bit of zoning potential as well.
Does have to be careful as Stats, he's aware.
I should say. Oh, look at those blocks, Light. Nicely done. So Stats, you know, he was able to block Zest from going up this ramp, but Zest keeping those stalkers right where he wanted them.
Yeah, and just like that, when Stats realized he was trapped, he activated his shield overcharge, keeping his units alive. So both players kind of going blow for blow there, going back and forth, and no clear victor here, but Stats does have Stalkers across the map.
He does, and now Zest, he's gonna have to make a decision.
Oof. Yeah,
Alright,
and it looks
back
like...
home.
Yeah, the decision has been made to go back home. Ooh, the Artosis pylon is going to be taken out as well.
Exposed. And one thing to keep in mind, like, Zest is now supply capped. He cannot warp in defenses right now, and he's even kind of blocked himself out. Gonna be forced to use that recall. A lot of value that Zest came out with 1 probe and 3 stalkers.
Yeah, that was beautifully done. I don't know if you realized, but it was actually Stats who blocked Zest out of his own base with his own pylon.
He did.
Because Stats had a probe there, and he was even able to snipe off a sentry on his way out and force field the ramp. So, oh my god, Stats, and just beautiful play.
Yeah, now this Immortal drop gonna be deflected by Stats. They don't call him the Executive Shield himself for no reason.
Yeah, they don't call him Nick Fury for nothing. He's all about that shield of ire, and Stats so far is looking really good. Behind this, interestingly, Stats is for Glaives.
Well, okay, well, he did see the Immortal come out from Stats, and I think he's banking on Stats making more, which, to be fair, he is. And as we've seen, Glaive Adepts, they do pretty well against Immortals. Just with their firing rate.
We're just getting into a situation where it looks like Zest is basically going all in. He's staying on one base, whereas Stats is the one expanding. So Zest, he's going for this Hail Mary play. Looks like trying to maybe line up his push with Glaives finishing up, or maybe even sooner. Stats, he does spot this though. Yeah,
he wanted to go for a Immortal drop, but gonna be forced back. He's leaving his warp position pretty exposed, I would say.
Yeah, does have to be careful, but you know, he does like chip away at the shields. He is like aware and throwing down a bunch of shield batteries.
Yeah, that is what I like to see. 2 of them already finishing up right now, and there are going to be a couple here as well. And here comes the big engagement, which, funnily enough, I have an idea of how this is going to go, Light.
Yeah,
battery overcharge, not in the shield battery that's in range. Zest somehow getting the upper hand here.
Yeah, the shield batteries are out of energy. Like, there's only 2 Immortals. All the gateway units fell for Stats, and that's the price you pay for expanding in a PvP.
Exactly. Why would you, as Wise Man once say, why would you expand in PvP? And I'm not sure if you noticed this, Light, but battery overcharge was thrown down, but it was thrown on the shield battery on the high ground. It was not in range to help anything.
Wasn't doing anything at all for Stats. It was completely wasted.
And that's gotta hurt for Stats, man. That's pretty much a throw, but yeah, Stats is still hanging on in there. It's not like he's dead yet. But if he loses this, it's gotta hurt. It's gotta be.
And a lot of it came down to, I believe, the Nexus did finish up, but the Nexus at the natural didn't have enough energy to actually make the shield overcharge to the shield batteries on the low ground. So
you can use a different Nexus though.
Oh, okay.
So long as there's energy available and it's close to a Nexus, you can throw down the overcharge.
So yeah, it wasn't used correctly there for Stats, and as a result, he lost the base. He lost a lot of units, a lot of workers as well. And now Stats, he's down 10 probes, and like he's basically like praying right now to do something. Yeah,
this Disruptor drop is going to be his Hail Mary, his only way of equalizing this. But Zest is trying to prevent that. Trying and succeeding, I should say.
Yeah, he gets a shot off. You know, Stats nicely done. He's pushing out with the rest of his Immortals as well. Like, this is everything that Stats has right now. It's all or nothing for him.
You thought Zest was all in. If Zest was all in, Stats is all in and in depth.
Exactly. He's got everything out here right now. Ooh, almost takes out an Immortal as well. And Zest, he's only got 1 shield battery morphing in. That's all he has here to support his army.
Indeed it is. And I'm not convinced that that's going to be enough. He does have Phoenix out here. Oh! The Purification Nova takes out at least half of Zest's army. Stats is going to have a much easier time pushing in now.
Ooh, that overcharge.
Yeah, but targeting down that Yeah, but targeting it down. Now there's not a lot left here for Zest, but there's not a lot left here for Stats either. The Phoenix is really bringing his home. GG is called. Zest takes game number 1, showing that he still knows a thing or two about PvP.
GG, and that was beautifully done. Like, going all in again, like, it's so this is why so often it takes so long for Protoss players to expand into PvP. Like, it's so risky to do so. Even even Starduck weighing in, like, Starduck, of course, he knows all about it. You don't expand in PvP. Or if you do, like, it's so difficult to do so. And Stats, he was aware of it. Like, he had 2 shield batteries in the low ground. Again, like, a bit of miss micro there, wasn't able to utilize that overcharge.
Yeah, I can't imagine what Stats is feeling right now.
Yeah, to be fair, even if he did, I don't know if it would have been enough to hold on.
I think it would have, because Zest was barely winning that fight. I think the overcharge would have tipped it in Stats' favor.
Yeah, it's possible, but like on the low ground, like Zest, he killed all the the only thing Stats had remaining were the 2 immortals. Like that was all he had left, and his War Prism. But yeah,
that is a pretty good point. We're gonna go into game number 2 of this best of 5 series. So Stats, Stats should be fresh. And speaking of fresh, here we are now on to Pillars of Gold, which hold up the golden wall which protect the Eternal Empire, where the LE submarines are kept. LE, we are now in the top right hand corner of the map, spawning in the top right hand corner of the map, where we have the pink Protoss player, the Duke of Alliteration. He is going to be representing Raise Your Edge Gaming, RYH. Coming out all the way from the land of Korea. Give it up for Zest.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the other South Korean Protoss player representing Afrika Freaks. It is Stats.
Alrighty then. So what are we gonna see this time, Light?
Interesting. We may see a proxy
Stargate.
Yeah, we may see it because Zest, he opted to go for a double gas opener. Meanwhile, Stats went for a single gas opener. So Zest, he does have a lot more gas to utilize. I'm either Stargate or Robo.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Stats is the one right now that's going off script, and that is why he's being very greedy. You thought it was risky taking a natural base in PvP. Well, Stats is gonna do you one better.
Oh boy. So, okay. So Zest, obviously, he's proxying down in the bottom right corner of the map. He does have a probe in position with a pylon. If it's a Stargate or Robo, regardless, like, it's gonna deal some damage. Like, Stats is being so greedy right now.
But there is, I'm imagining that he's gonna be trying to get some shield batteries up as quickly as he can. He's gotta know how risky this maneuver is.
Yeah, especially because, like, he still has a probe in the main base of Zest, so he knows the opener that Zest went for. He knows about the double gas opener. He should know that there's, like, the potential of something being out proxied on the map is incredibly high. So what is Stats' response here? He is starting to work on Stalkers, which will definitely help. I'm just curious to see how he approaches this, because again, he's
of his own.
Yeah, and like Stats, he's aware of what he's doing. Like, he's aware that what he's doing is incredibly greedy. So I just want to see how he plays this out.
All right, well, he is starting to prepare his defenses, getting the shield battery in position, whether Zest decides to go from the side or from the front. And Stalkers, they are the most well-rounded unit right now. Oh, this is a full wall of.
Yeah, I like this, and I imagine the Stargate for Stats is for Phoenix. Like, if you're being incredibly defensive, like Phoenixes for CCing like oncoming Immortals makes sense to me, or even to protect against Oracles. We'll see what his first unit becomes as the first Oracle is already out for Zest.
Yeah, Void Ray getting prepared as well. That's a Void Ray that was being prepared, but does switch into a Phoenix now that Stats sees the Oracle coming out. And I gotta tell you, Light, Phoenix does make sense for when you're on the defensive. I agree with you there. But just the fact that Stats has fully walled himself off, I feel like he might be going for a 2-base all-in of some kind.
Yeah, we'll see what his plan becomes as the Phoenixes, they do find a Void Ray.
That they do. And Void Rays, they don't do particularly well against Phoenixes. Like, it'll trade and the Void Ray will win, but it's gonna... But... What was I gonna say? Yeah, not if there are 2 Phoenixes out that are attacking at the same time.
Yeah, and what's curious to me is that Zest is committing to this Void Ray production. He's making more and more. Like
he's slowly inching forward. You'd have thought that this was a Xenodactyl game, not Zest.
I was about to say that here we go. Shield batteries on the way. I imagine we're going to see a couple more as well, just to support this army for Zest. And is this going to work? I mean, it could. The Saturday score is exposed.
I kind of feel like the Void Rays might have too much firepower here, but I could be wrong.
Yes, Saturday score goes down.
Yeah. But now Stats does have 4 Phoenixes out, and that's going to do really well against the Void Rays. Stats does not really have much of a ground army, but there we go. That is why he got the gateway in this location. He needed a much quicker warp in.
And I love this. Stats actually has his Phoenixes patrolling above the Stargate of Zest, getting the reinforcing Void Rays, picking them off. So Zest, he's all alone here with his army and the shield battery. It's out of energy.
It is. Another one starting its way up. And Zest, his gateways are on cooldown, but pretty soon he's going to get another warp in here.
It would be amazing if he threw down a Foxy Nexus for the...
for recall.
For the overcharge.
Oh, yeah. You know, why not? Alright, just started to push in, and it's important to keep in mind that Stats did put a lot of his production out in the front like this.
Yeah, and Stats has to be careful. Like, yeah, a lot of his production is getting picked off, and he is like poking in and out. But again, like his own shield batteries are starting to run out of energy as well. More shield batteries being thrown down for Zest. And Stats, he did remake his Saturday score. Yeah, he doesn't have any production. He only has a Stargate right now.
But he does have a pretty healthy Phoenix and Stalker count. He does have a lot of shield batteries, so his priority right now is just to buy time.
Yeah, the longer this goes on, the better it is for Stats, because he does have 2 base economy, like slowly ramping up. He does have defender's advantage. It's on Stats to it's on Zest to try and end the game and pull the trigger.
Yeah, and it's got to feel a little rough for Stats right now. He wants to jump in with Phoenix's pounds, but every time he does, he risks getting caught out by these Stalkers, and there you have it. Zest is really pulling the trigger right now. This could be the beginning of the end. The Phoenix is still alive. I did not expect that.
Yeah, Zest was actually target firing all the Stalkers, not the Phoenixes. Interesting choice, as now he's starting to focus on the Phoenixes, and they are starting to fall. The Stalker count still is incredibly high for Zest.
Indeed it is. But they are slowly getting picked off one by one. Zest is really underestimating the effects of crowd control right now. Battery overcharge, just keeping Stats alive here. And again, if he does this a couple more times, Zest is going to have to tap out.
Oh, and for a moment there, the Phoenixes do leave the safety of this natural surge. The Void Ray does get picked off again. The Stalker count is decently high for Zest. He's trying to pick off a couple more Phoenixes, but it looks like we've gotten to the point where Stats may just have too much.
Yeah, notice how Stats is continuously producing, whereas Zest, he really doesn't have much to do production-wise. He can't afford to get anything else.
Yeah,
pulling all the boys.
Oh god,
or most of the boys.
Yeah, this is Zest's last stand.
Stats ties up that series, sideways 1-1. Interesting game we saw. Again, I feel like that was more akin to the NA server than the Korea server, but interesting.
Honestly, Zest almost broke Stats. Like, there was a moment there where he pushed in with his Stalkers, and it looked like he was about to start, like, snowballing. But at just that moment, Stats used that shield overcharge and forced Zest all the way back. And, yeah, that was really well done by both players. Like, it almost worked for Zest, and Stats, he held well.
Yeah, I really think that Zest might have underestimated the effects of the Phoenixes there. But then again, when he did target down the Phoenixes, they were just hard to kill because of how many shield batteries were out.
Yeah, definitely, and a lot of it also comes down to like stats. He used his Phoenix as well. Like every moment he could, he went for those reinforcing Void Rays, picking them off. Like if there were a couple more Void Rays beefing up that army for Zest, like it could have been a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely would have been. We're going on to our next game now, or our next map. It's a familiar face.
Eternal face.
Aha! In the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have a pink Protoss player, the Duke of Alliteration himself. Oh no, actually, he could become king. Is you know how we do it, like. I'll get into it soon. He is coming down all the way from Korea. We're gonna be representing Raise Your Edge Gaming, RYH. He is the pink Protoss player, Pichilgab, otherwise known as Zest.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Eternal Empire LE, we have the other South Korean Protoss player representing Afrika Freaks, as well as Afrika TV. It is Stats.
Yeah, looking to avenge Dongray Gu here.
Yeah, Dongray Gu as well as Armani. And yeah, we'll see how Stats holds up here, as this time he's not being anywhere near as greedy.
No, he does not. Instead, he already knows how Zest wants to play this out. He's sending his probe towards the location. Okay, he's gotta shift it up now. Oh, actually,
Yeah, I was about to say,
so
are they
close to each
gonna?
other.
Yeah, I was about to say, are they gonna proxy right next to each other? And it looks like they will.
I don't see this.
No, they do not. And I feel like Zest should be the first to see it. Like once he gets increased
at the high
vision.
ground.
Oh, ooh,
Doesn't
he
quite
still
see it
doesn't.
yet. But if he gets a building that's towards the right side, he should.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
there it
see.
is.
There it
And
is.
Stats still unawares.
He's like, oh,
And it's Proxy Robo versus Proxy Robo.
wow, and they're right next to
Is
each
that
other
legal?
as well. I mean, obviously, we have to give the edge to Zest right now because he is the one in the know. He is aware of what is happening right now, of where the proxy is for Stats. And Stats
Unless-
so far, he doesn't.
Unless you overthink this.
This is accurate.
And
It's in, the ball is in Zest's court. What he's gonna do with it, though, is the real question.
I imagine you just go get a bunch of immortals, try to take things out.
Oh, steel battery. Ooh.
Huh.
We're gonna see some immortal versus immortal action over here.
We will.
With the shield battery to support, this is where the big brain play comes. And Stats, oh, he's gonna have a stalker, and I would love it if he just randomly throws down a shield battery as well.
Because why not, really?
So okay, one immortal and a shield battery against one immortal and two stalkers. How is this gonna go down?
I have to wonder. Alright, that's on the high ground. And yeah, he
Jig is
does
up.
want to fight here. Jig is up. But here comes the shield battery. Stats, are you sure you want to fight here, buddy?
Oh, he's focusing down the immortal. He's trying to
Is he
get
gonna
it
get
down.
it? He
Wow.
does get it. Nice with the target fire. The shield battery is out of energy now, though, and this immortal is not long for this world, but there is another one already out. Or soon to be out.
It should come out in time. The stalkers don't have enough DPS here, so the immortal. Oh, but with the War Prism Micro though, like the stalkers could still focus down the pylon.
Yeah, so that's not going to
just-
take that risk.
Yeah.
Especially not with another stalker out in position for Zest. So yeah, this proxy is just going to be shut down here for Stats, but on the other hand, Zest. I mean, he came out on top in that engagement, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, it does suck a little bit to not be able to do what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I do think it's very important that Stats, like as soon as he realized what was happening, after he got that first immortal out, he got out of War Prism. Because that allows him to like have this presence out on the map and force that Zest to stay at home, even though Zest like traded
Exactly.
better.
You always have your blind spots, especially this early on.
And as we see, you know, stats, like his goal here is just to buy time. Like if he gets some damage done, that's like a bonus really. He's just forcing Zest to stay here. Meanwhile, over at home, like stats, he threw down a replacement robo of his own. He's working on his immortal count. He's trying to get back up because again, he did start off a little bit behind, but he's doing the best he can to try and catch up.
Indeed, he is. And now we're about to see a bit of a harass versus harass coming out.
Yeah.
Zest actually being a lot... Okay, maybe not harass necessarily. Zest actually going for a straight push. Swarp is low. Ooh. But Stats does manage to keep it alive.
Yeah, a little bit dangerous there. Stats almost lost that War Prism, and if he did, that could have been the end of it. And here we go, the Immortals are here, and there is a shield battery. There's a lot of energy on these sentries as well.
Yeah, but the War Prism can be the equalizer in that regard.
We've been here before. The production is gonna go down.
Elevator up, elevator down. Can't explain that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it looks like Stats is gonna be shutting down the production over here on the left-hand side. But and there may be a recall available as well, but oh boy.
Alright, this time Stats gonna be the first one to go into Glaives. It's not too bad, but losing the Cybercore means that he won't really have the Adepts to make use of that.
Oh.
And I think that, yeah, Zest is way too bruised. He has to back out.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, but yeah, that was really nice. He's down there with the force fields, kept the Immortals like segregated, and one Immortal of Zest did go down. Yeah, separated. Yeah, they both work. But yeah, that was a little bit of mismatch because Zest, he was trying to pick it up, but he picked up another unit instead, so he didn't have enough room in the War Prison to pick up an Immortal.
It's definitely a bit of an oof, as we do say. Alright, so Zest just trying to get some damage done, not finding it. Hard to really say who's out on top right now.
Yeah, we've gotten to the point where it's kind of even. Like Stats was able to defend, and because Stats was able to kill an Immortal, yeah.
I kind of like this, I'm not sure what Zest has going on inside his head, you know, what he thinks that Stats is going to go for. But I choose to believe that because Zest had those Immortals out, right? He knows that Stats wants to deal with those Immortals first. How do you deal with them? Glaive the Depths. So what does Zest do? He doesn't rebuild his Robo facility. Instead, he's investing mostly on these Blitzstalkers.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting approach, and as you were saying, like, it can definitely work. Like, it feels like Zest, he's kind of utilizing what he thinks Stats is gonna do and kind of metagame him. And yeah, we have just Mass Blink Stalker.
That we do. Alright, Stats is starting to posture. He's going in with everything he's got. Zest sees this.
And to be fair, like, even though Stats may not have like the better army, like, he still has like an army supply that is very comparable to that of Zest. And again, he still has some Immortals as well, and Immortals do so well against these Stalkers.
It does, and I mean, Adepts as well, they do pretty well against Stalkers. For the same reason they do well against Immortals, so not quite as well, it's not quite as efficient. But still, it ain't bad.
Oh, and he commits to the shade, actually.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit of mistiming there. But the force fields are not quite there for Zest. Stats, though, really starting to bleed out in units. Look at that army supply plummet, whereas Zest blinks on forward, takes out that War Prism. Should be seeing a GG fairly soon. Right on time. Zest taking game number 3. Going to match point.
Yeah, GG, and you were talking about it, right? Like, Adepts, they chip away at Stalkers, but we saw all the Adepts shade in, and they all just melted to the Stalkers. Like, and as soon as all the Adepts fell, like, that's when we saw the army supply plummet for Stats, and then Zest, he just blinked on forward and dealt with the rest of the army.
This is why Blink, man. This is why people say if you can get good at Blink, or, you know, grapple the fundamentals of Blink, your Protoss win rate, it's gonna shoot up.
And again, like Zest kind of winning the mind game there, where he went for this mass Blink Stalker play, whereas Stats, based off of his army composition, was expecting more of an Immortal heavy composition. So, yeah, really, just really well done there by Zest.
Man knows his PvP.
He does, yeah, he does, and we're back. This is where we started, and it's been a while since we've seen it, but we are going to be loading in to Submarine.
LE. Has it been that long?
The last time we saw it was SOS versus Armani, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
About a couple. Oh, Jesus. That was 2 hours ago.
It was.
Time flies.
Yeah. Also, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. There's a couple of people in chat, giving us a little bit of support. Thank you. If you're new to the channel, we're live pretty often, almost every day of the week. And every week we've been casting this tournament, except during DreamHack. We were busy with DreamHack, but we're back, and Yaku, take it away.
Alrighty then, here we are now on the map that we do in fact love, the map that we all live on. It is a LE submarine, an LE submarine. Now, in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner of the map, we do in fact have a pink Protoss player, Peachelgub. Yeah, you got it, he's one of the kings of alliteration there. All the way from the land of Korea, representing Raise Your Edge Gaming, RYEJ, we have Zest.
And spawning in at the bottom right-hand corner of Submarine LE, we have the Korean Protoss player, representing a freak of freaks. It is Stats.
Are they gonna proxy next to each other again, like?
Oh god, the probes that heads left of the map. It is possible on the other side.
They're hidden by the shrubbery.
Yeah, it's happening again. Oh, but this time
they're gonna meet. And Zest is gonna be the first one to see, but Stats thinks, you probably have a pylon, don't you? And they do spot each other's proxies. All right, quite a bit of a different game already.
Great minds think alike, and this is peak Korean PvP, facing off against each other 2 games in a row. Zest and Stats, somehow they went for the same strategy on the same maps.
Oh, they were on the same team.
They are both ex-KT boys. Are they still practicing together nowadays? Ex-KT.
Oh, right. I was like, I know my SKT boys.
Ex-KT, as they were teammates with Flash and TY. And yeah, again, it's hard to say, since we're not in Korea, like how the dynamic is at the moment. I know that a lot of players do have their specific practice partners. Do these guys practice with each other? Maybe. It would explain a lot of what's happening.
I'm not sure about practice, but I do remember that Stats has mentioned in the past that sometimes Zest will approach him and be like, hey, can you take a look at a couple of my replays, or like, hey, can you help me strategize for this opponent that I have? So yeah, it's still pretty close.
So it's really cool to see that they're still interacting with each other, and oh my god.
Look at that, the pro block. Oh. But is it gonna save them? 4 probes already going down. Stats taking quite a bit of an upper hand here. 5 probes this early on.
Yeah,
that's not insignificant.
Yeah. Even if it wasn't early on, like 5 probes is a lot of damage, and as you're saying, this early on, it just compounds that effect even more. Meanwhile, Zest coming in with this Oracle, trying to deal with these Stalkers, but oh my god.
It's quite a bit of a mudfest going on right now, and the biggest surprise to me, Light, is that this is Submarine, the map with the shortest rush distance. Both players got their naturals.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's because they seen each other's proxies and thought, oh, right, I can just shut this down and I'll be safe.
Of all maps, this is going to be the first map where both players take their naturals.
Why not?
in the series, this is the first game where both players are taking the naturals, and it's some goddamn submarine.
Shaking my head.
God damn it. Alright, here we go. The oracles, they are deflected. Again, Zest loses 4 more probes. Zest! You don't want to be a probe of Zest right now as they just keep falling. I feel like the meme has gone from one player to the other, as I don't know if you recall, but that used to be a thing for stats where
Spider-Man sail.
Yeah, there was even an emote as well, like you don't want to be a stats probe.
Exactly. It's a symbiosis of KT.
Yeah, and here we go. Zest, he's trying to apply pressure, but there are already 2 shield batteries in position for stats. He also has energy for an overcharge as well. He's doing it again. Oh, he's
blocking his own probe.
He's blocking it. No, Zest, please.
All right, now he goes for it. Is it going to be too late? The Immortal is out now with these oracles as well. Now this time Zest doesn't have any tech proxied. Oh, the shield battery goes down. Not even a cancel. GG. Immediately. Stats gonna be tying this series up, giving us that ace match.
There we go. And even though we saw both players take an expansion, there were no probes made for it. And yeah, once again, it ends quite quickly as we head into that ace match.
Just looking at chat right now. I agree with you, Ryoma. PvP has no memes. It is the most serious matchup.
PvP
it's the most straightforward matchup in all of StarCraft 2. The most predictable one.
This is peak StarCraft right now. Like, this is as intense as it gets. You don't want none of this Bio versus Ling Bane Muta. No. This is what it comes down to. The chess game, the mind games at play right now when 2 Protoss players throw down pylons right next to each other.
I'm just here for the meme fiesta.
You're in the wrong matchup for that, Yaku.
Are you sure about that?
Oh god, and also shout out to Chase.
Hey!
Chase, it's cool to see you. I saw you in chat yesterday talking about coming in today. You missed it. We casted Oreo. Oreo played today. Probe played today. Pez was in chat earlier. All the other Australian players. So yeah, it's cool to see you here. And enough about that.
Yeah.
Hey, we got an ace match.
Alrighty then. And speaking of the ace, here we are now on the Death Aura. I'm not sure how that applies to ace. We're in the bottom right hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right hand corner of the map. We have one of the kings of alliteration right here. He is the pink Protoss player Pichilgab, coming down all the way from the land of Korea, representing Raise Your Edge Gaming, RYEJ, as well as the XKT Federation. We have Zest.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Death Aura LE, we have the Korean Protoss player representing Afrika TV, as well as Afrika Freaks. It is Stats.
And it all comes down to this, like, on the ace match, we go back to what we're familiar with.
Exactly,
Double gate,
here we
double
are.
gas.
This is true, but Zest does have a probe out on the map as opposed to Stats, so, you know, maybe we could see a pylon being thrown down, and what are we going to see, Yaku? Robo or Stargate?
Dark Shrine.
Alright.
You sound so convinced.
I mean, I'll be honest, it's happened before. During the Rebirth tournament, we did see Proxy Twilight Council Dark Shrine, and we were like, what? We haven't seen that in so long, but here in this ace match, we do see a Proxy Stargate.
Alrighty then. Well, if you think about it, the Stargate is kind of like a Dark Shrine of the sky.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah? Yeah, you get me, don't you?
Nope.
You know, if you don't have the necessary precaution, you're just gonna die.
Yeah. This is accurate. This is accurate. You could maybe apply that to a couple of different things, but you know, it's still.
I mean, like basically everything.
Yep. But you know, you do need to make sure that you are prepared for it, and yeah, Zest, he does have that Oracle on the way.
I just noticed stats changes color.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, to be honest. Like, it was really difficult to cast
Pink and red, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Especially
you know, at
when,
least it wasn't blue and purple on Nightshade.
Yeah, could have been worse. Could have also been better, so I appreciate this. Thank you, Stats, for changing your color. Really appreciate it. Especially heading into this ace match, and yeah, the Oracle for Zest is already moving out across the map. What is there at home to defend for Stats?
A couple of Stalkers and 3 Sentries.
Oh,
Stats actually getting quite a bit of Sentries right now.
yeah, and once again, Stats, you know, he does have that safety shield battery result, but Zest manages to get another worker as well, too. It's not ideal, but you know, it's better than nothing.
It is, and we do see a second Oracle on the way. Does actually take out the scouting probe. That's just another little bit of damage.
And as you said, like, that probe was able to scout that there was a second Oracle out of the map, so Stats is aware that he has to be quite on top of splitting up his army, making sure that he doesn't get caught off guard. And yeah, Zest, these Oracles, they don't deal too much damage, but again, they are like out there on the map. They could jump in at any moment. Not this one though, since it's being followed by the hallucination.
No, I think this is exactly what Zest wants to happen. Just have the attention be on this one Oracle, because if we do see the other Oracle, never mind, not going into the main.
Look, he was actually meeting up with the other Oracle, so they're both in. Oh, the hallucination catches them again. It's following them.
But he lost the trail.
He missed it.
All right, Zest now looking to jump in. There are Stalkers, both in the main and the natural base, so I don't think Zest can really get a lot done with these Oracles.
Yeah,
I think he should probably use them more for defensively, or you know, just as a revelation tool.
Yeah, revelation or stats wards defensively would be nice to use against one of the players who popularized them. It's quite fitting, and yeah, as all this was happening, both players, they did expand, they've droned up, you know. Zest, he does have a bit of a worker lead. Some of that does come down to the fact that the Oracles did manage to kill a good handful amount of probes, so yeah, already the Oracles coming into play here when it comes to the economy.
Yeah, but what will Zest do with this advantage? I suppose is going to be more of the question. The answer is get a lot of gateways and +1. This is looking like it's going to be a +1 charge timing, potentially an all-in.
Yeah. Honestly, you don't see this too often or at least I don't see this too often in PvP. You know, whether it's Glaive Adepts or Blink Stalkers, is more standard, which is what Stats is going for. But this charge lot, it could work well for Zest.
Yeah, I feel like you see this more in the other matchups, but
yeah, we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, but Stats is being so greedy. He's taking a third base. This is the first time we're seeing a third base.
This could just be the downfall of Stats right now.
You don't want a third base in a PvP.
Like he was already pushing it, you know, getting the natural or getting the natural. Yeah, now exactly. He's really
like what we're
really
seeing right now. This is crazy right now. This is what is happening this game. This is the ace match, and of course the ace match is the final game where both players are taking their third bases, but Zest is the one who is pushing out across the map. Charge lots are on the way. Stats is actually responding with his own version of this, but it is a lot later.
It very much so is, but on the plus side, he does have Blink of this, so he can make use of these Stalkers, just trying to pick off a Warp Prism at 2. Does try to take out both Oracles. I did not think he was going to do that.
Yeah,
and now,
both Oracles.
Yeah, Blink is already off cooldown. Zest, it's going to come down to who positions better, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Zest, he does have an Immortal with this army as well as 3 Archons, so he does have maybe a little bit of a better army, but with Overcharge...
Yeah, the Overcharge is really keeping Stats alive right now. I think Zest has the better army overall, but it really does come down to what, you know, one or two players use their armies for.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
There are ways for Stats to really turn this around, making use of these Blink Stalkers, but look at this. Zest, sorry, already pushing it. The Warp Prism does go down, so Zest can't really sustain this, but I feel like the damage has already been done. The Archons of Stats, only one of them is remaining. And these Blink Stalkers, they're not really gonna do too well. Oh, maybe they can. These Archons are basically naked right now. And Blinks backwards are pretty good.
Yeah, with Blink Micro, it looks like Stats may have just enough to hold on. There are only 2 Archons left, and they are taken out, so Stats...
Nick goddamn Fury.
He holds on. But surprisingly, behind this, like, Zest has the higher worker count. Like, he has the better economy. And he was able to take out all the high-tech units of Stats.
Yeah. Well, Stats did lose about 5 probes there.
Yeah, and now Stats, he's counterattacking with his Blink Stalkers, but there's already an Immortal, there are Archons as well. Like, Zest should be able to fend this off defensively, and we may be heading into our first, like, maybe even get to a late game PvP.
Is that allowed?
No. Someone notify the admins. I don't think this is allowed in the ESL rulebook. I think this is the first time this is happening. Oh my god.
Unprecedented.
Unprecedented. I don't even know if the game can handle this. The StarCraft itself, the game client, has never seen this before, and oh my god, here we go. More Zealots are morphing in as well. Both players kind of clashing a little bit in the middle of the map, but Stats, he's getting out them Disruptor boys.
And that he is. And I actually kind of favor Stats right now. Zest, he's got a higher worker count, you know, they're both even on bases, but I don't believe Zest, has really done much with that in terms of tech.
Yeah, you actually mentioned it earlier in this game. You were like, hey, Zest has this advantage. What is he doing with this advantage? And the answer is that he chose not to tech up. He's sticking with this Immortal, like, charged out composition. He's stuck with it. Meanwhile, Stats is the one who was teched up.
This is accurate, but you can't really say that Zest isn't really making use of that worker lead, as he does have a decent army lead here. There are low-tech units, like low-tech gateway units, mostly Zealots, which you don't want to underestimate, but Stats between the Disruptors actually only has 1 Archon. That could be a bit of an issue, a bit of an oversight.
We could be in this weird situation because obviously charge outs, they can, once they target a unit, they charge in, and maybe they're fast enough to dodge the Disruptor hits, but if they're not, like, the Disruptor shots are just gonna annihilate this charged out army. Yeah,
best case scenario for Zest is Stats throws out the Purification Novas and it hits his own army.
yeah, or maybe like Stats doesn't respond fast enough and the Zealots just get on top of the Disruptors. I think, like, either way, like, it's incredibly risky to try and play this out for Zest.
Especially when you already have, for Zest, I was thinking more for Stats. I was thinking more of, since he already has the Templar Archives, the Archons are a lot more reliable versus Zealots.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. But there are what, 5 Disruptors with this army? Like, I don't know. It's all about the engagement.
Very much will be. Zest is meanwhile starting to get a couple of Disruptors of his own. He has realized that is really going to be the best AoE, considering that Zest is mostly Blink Stalkers and Disruptors himself.
Yeah, and already 1 Immortal of Zest does get picked off for essentially free, and now he's down to 1, and he does have the high ground advantage here, and he does have a War Prism as well.
Indeed he does, and that's about to get, not Medevac boost, Gravitic Boosters, it's this right there on the right-hand side. And it's about to get speed, and that's going to make it a lot more difficult for Stats to try to blink on top of it.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like Zest, he's trying to go for a surround.
Yeah, but Stats is trying to prevent that from happening. A couple more Archons come in to join the fray. And you know what? I kind of favor Stats' army now. Oh, but a Purification Nova does not get too much there. At least Zest didn't. Stats is getting decent connections to these Novas. Okay, that was juicy. And this might just be
he gets cleaned up.
He is starting to get cleaned up here. The Stalkers managed to blink away, but a lot of them did get bled out. And one thing to keep in mind, Zest's Archons still well alive. Stats, he needs a buffer, but he can't really get the charge up buffer that he wants because of these Archons.
Yeah, nice split there by Zest, but he does end up losing an Archon, and that engagement at the fourth base of Zest was so beautiful to see. He went for the surround. He actually had a disruptor in his warp prison that was flanking the army as well, and Zest was actually getting the better disruptor shots. In the end, Stats got one solid disruptor shot on the warping in units, but as you were saying, the Archons where Zest kind of reigned supreme there, just pushing through, surrounding the army. And now Zest, like, he's, getting his fourth base established. Stats, like, he basically got his disruptor count reset. He has to remake them, and he's going for round 2.
He is, but not going for the same thing entirely. Gonna be getting a Dark Shrine out, and this is gonna be pretty interesting. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I don't think either of them have too many observers out.
Oh god, the disruptors!
Yeah, look to be pretty vulnerable, but I don't actually know if that got picked up or if that died.
Yeah, it did die. One disruptor for Zest went down there, as he was caught unawares.
Purification over for Zealot, why not?
Yeah, and okay, interesting call here is Stats. He's aware that his army is a little bit bare bones, so he does back off, and both players, they're fully saturated on the 4 bases.
Who's gonna really lose their base first? Or I guess who's gonna get to the 5th base first?
I would say who's gonna be the first to tech switch into Skytoss, because typically in PvP that's like your end goal that you want to get into, like Tempest, Carriers, Mothership. It can just be so difficult to get there though, because there's so much aggression happening.
Yeah, and that's the real reason why late game PvP is allowed. Because interceptors, man. If both players max out on carriers, rip Ram.
Yeah. Both Yoda Slim and I were well aware of this. We've got a game over on our channel, on our YouTube channel, Gung Fu Banda versus Neeb during the DreamHack qualifiers. One of the games was over an hour long. Yeah. Oh boy. Boy,
oh boy. And I'm trying to gauge who really has so much of an advantage right now. I kind of want to favor Zest, just because of the upgrades and the fact that he is maxed out more quicker than Stats, but it's, again, nothing is really set in stone right now.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of it comes down to the fact that, in this matchup against these army compositions like Blinks and Disruptors, it's all about the micro, right? Like, a good Disruptor shot would be amazing, and
that's a little Blink back. And Stats doesn't lose anything to that Purification Nova. Good little bit of multi-prong. Draws the entire army of Zest away from that 4th base location. But there are enough disruptors to potentially wipe out this army. But there are also enough disruptors for Stats to try to take out this mineral line.
Yeah, he does get 6 workers in the end, but it looks like there's enough here from Zest to push away the army. On the left-hand side, it looks like he has well enough here to collapse on this, but Stats, it looks like he won on the right, and it looks like he may be trying to push into the 4th again.
Yeah, trying to being the key word. One disruptor going down, the other one being cleaned out. We could actually go into an awkward base trade scenario where both players just gonna split up the army and try to take out the bases.
Stats actually turns around. He's bringing everything home.
Oh, righty then.
And these disruptors could flank the army of Zest.
I can see it so clearly right now, but Stats is kind of throwing them out there prematurely. That was a good timing though. Wipes out so much of Zest's army. And Stats, he's losing a lot of workers, but he's been banking up quite a bit behind this. I think we're about to see Zest unable to contest his rival.
Yeah, Zest did exactly what Stats did earlier in this game. He pushed up into that 4th base location, got stuck, got cornered essentially, got surrounded, and there was nowhere to escape. All the disruptor shots went off for Stats. The army for Zest just completely evaporated, and now Stats is taking a 5th base. He's pushing out across the map. He has the army advantage, has everything going for him.
Indeed he does, and one thing that actually kind of helps him out here, that he's no longer he's no longer maxed out is he doesn't have to recall. He can just warp in a bunch of reinforcements back at home to lure the run-by of Zest.
Yeah, that he does. I mean, this run-by is going to deal decent damage, but at the end of the day, like, what does Zest have at home to defend against this massive Protoss army from stats?
A smaller amount of Stalkers.
Exactly, and here we go. He blinks into the third base. Disruptor shots for safely going up the ramp as he doesn't have vision, and the base is going to be going down. Meanwhile, there's a big zealot run-by at the third base of stats, so like, damage is still being done.
Overcharge, is it going to keep this cannon alive? Barely not.
Yeah, there's also another big push at the fourth base of stats as well. Like Zest, he's doing his best he can to try and make this as close as possible. He's even
We're in a base trade.
He's pulling all his boys across the map.
It's official. This is a base trade.
Yeah, and honestly, like, this is the best case scenario for Zest to try and take this game. Like, if none of the probes escape for stats, then maybe Zest can kill everything. I'm not too sure if
honestly,
there's a
I think that might be likely.
Yeah, like if the probes for stats can't escape, then he could just lose everything.
Now, does stats have a recall available? He does, and I feel like he's gonna have to make use of it pretty soon. But he's being pretty ambitious right now. Oh, there it is. There we go.
Ooh, and he does recall. Zest does dodge all the disruptor shots and essentially leaves
probes of Zest.
He leaves stats on one base, and if Zest goes back home, can he continue mining? I don't think so.
No,
like,
there's nothing in that main base for Zest. Because once again, he's on one base.
And now Zest, he's getting
probes
surrounded.
Lined up, like, these probes get taken out. GG is called. And there you have it. Stats is going to advance to the finals of ESL Open Cup Pro Tour Asia, number 26, denying Zest the ability to contest, the ability to play in that tiebreaker that he has with Solar. As once again, they do both hold the record for most amount of Open Cup ESL Asias won.
Yeah, and just like that, Zest is denied that opportunity. He's taken out in the semis by stats in a pretty close, pretty crazy PvP. Somehow, some way, the ace match went incredibly long, almost 20 minutes for PvP. That's almost unheard of. And
yeah, that's just really, barely under the legal line.
Yeah, really well.
A minute later, and
really well played by both players. Almost had to get Blizzard involved in this one. That was and yeah, we are going to be heading in to an X Splice team kill.
We've had the XKT.
Yeah.
Now it's the X Splice. Where is Quirky?
Yeah, we got stats.
Where is yeah, one, where is Quirky, but also where is TY?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like TY is probably cheering for his now current teammate, right? Like,
oh, Rip Solar. That's so sad.
Times have changed. Yeah.
It's so sad.
It's kind of odd, right? Like, there are certain players who I associate with certain teams, even though they're no longer around.
Yeah. I will. Like, generally, for me, I would associate the players with the teams they were on in around 2014, 2015-ish.
I was gonna say, like, in my mind, Innovation, he's always on Acer.
Yep.
Well,
like, for me, it's weird because I split him 50-50 with Acer and SKT.
He's Acer for me. Because even before Acer,
like, to
I
me,
think
he's
he was
Acer
on
first. Yeah, he was on STX Soul, but to me, Innovation is Acer first, but SKT is a close second.
Yeah,
because he was the captain of SKT.
Yeah, and like, so there's that. There's what's another, like, quirky, if you will, one. Yeah, that's like standard, like all the standard like KT and SKT people. Solar will always be on Samsung for me.
Really?
Yeah, I say Splice just to appease the newer people, but Solar, in my mind, he's always on Samsung, and he always has those puffy jackets. The Samsung jackets were amazing. They were.
Yeah, Sue's always on SKT for me. Just trying to think back. Gumiho is always on Psystorm. Well, Psystorm or FX Open.
Gumiho for me is always on MVP with his
not to me. Not to me. Because, I mean, okay, he was also the captain of MVP for a while, but I kind of feel like he wasn't an MVP for that long. I feel like a lot of his... maybe it's actually a case where he was on MVP for quite a while, but because his biggest achievements happened when he was on FX Open or when he was on Psystorm, I don't really associate MVP with Gumiho.
Yeah, Gumiho. I mean, he was around.
Yeah, he was around
some
MVP.
time on a lot of teams. As we are setting up in the lobby, I don't think we have everyone actually.
Let's check real quick. Yep, just trying to get a bunch of people in. Last second.